Come on, OBS. Don't do this to me. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that's
There it is.
10,000. We are live, everybody. Welcome back to the Storytime Network. It is the Paradox Hour podcast. Today we're taking on a shonen juggernaut in the form of My Hero Academia. We're discussing Act 1 of that. So, from the very beginning, all the way up until All Might versus All for One.
And the aftermath thereof.
Yeah.
That is what we are considering. Considering Act One, we were just talking about this before we went live. Act Two is, from there up until the end of the war arc, which is the current, going to be the end of the season that is just started airing today, because serendipity is a thing. And then obviously Act 3 is everything that follows after that. But we won't be getting to that for a while, because the volume releases have slowed down, and therefore, I have to catch up.
Where are you on the volume releases anyways? I know you're in the middle of...
Just finished the war arc, so we'd be able to
You don't need to go into detail.
Yeah.
But
we've just finished the war arc.
Cool.
A certain somebody has just left the premises.
Okay. Yeah. Oh. Wait, you're that far. You're over there? Damn, the series has gone way past that.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I know. I'm worried that, depending on how much is covered in this season of the anime, I might be, the anime might get ahead of the English volume releases.
I don't think it will.
I think you're good.
I don't think it will.
We'll see. But that's not what we're discussing today. We are discussing Act 1, which, let's be real, is sort of My Hero at its peak.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
This is at the very least My Hero at its most itself. Most true to the title, I think.
Yeah.
Well, it's a case of I don't know. I am in the unique, well, not the unique, but certainly unique compared to the people on this podcast, and shitty position of having to avoid vicious spoilers for stuff because of my decision to read volumes only, and frankly, because of the shittiness of the internet, I'm very bad at it.
Some people are just malicious about it too, which doesn't help.
There's just some spoilers that's just like blown up everywhere, and like all over Twitter that I can't just help but ignore. Even though I actually haven't been reading the manga in a bit. I got busy with other things. But I have heard about some stuff that happens.
As I said,
there are a few big plot beats that everyone has heard about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. As I've said before, I do not mind. I'm not willing to fight. I'm not willing to die on the hill of people reading leaks. I'm just not. It's not. I don't have the time, the energy, or the ability to argue that point. The hill that I will die on is when people decide to read those leaks and then talk openly about them in public forums, like Twitter or Instagram, or, public Discord servers without spoiler tags.
Look, it's one thing if you talk about them in, like, a closed-off subreddit that's dedicated to that kind of thing. That's its own space. But if it's a public space, please don't do it.
No, you're just being an asshole. And, especially fuck the guy who decided to tweet about a spoiler from a leak just so he could dunk on the anime onlys. And when he was called to task for doing that, his response was, well, then they should just read the manga.
Well,
fuck that guy.
It was a leak, though.
People are anime onlys for a reason. I'm
Fuck that.
anime your Demon Slayer for a fucking reason.
Yeah, no, fuck that guy. I hope he falls down a hole and breaks his leg.
Yeah.
But you know that's the kind of thing I have to avoid, and therefore, you know, because I can't avoid every single fucking leak, you know, I end up getting spoiled on things, and when I get to them in the actual manga, I don't know, it just doesn't feel as exciting because I know what's coming. Like, to put it in terms of, you know, Act 1, this didn't happen because I wasn't as active in the anime community when I was, you know, reading Act 1 of the manga. But, you know, it'd be like knowing that Izuku loses against Todoroki in the sports festival. Like, it's hard to get invested in that when you know it's coming.
Honestly, a good enough series, you catch a spoiler and it still doesn't matter because the execution of it will not.
I can appreciate
still...
I can appreciate the execution, but there is no experience like reading something or watching something for the first time, and that's being taken away by the spoilers.
Yeah, that is kind of a dick move by a lot of those people.
I can appreciate, you know, the writing quality and the, you know, the art quality, but at the same time, you know, it's, again, you know, I vividly remember I read Volume 5 of My Hero Academia. I was at San Japan in San Antonio, Texas. I stopped, I sat on a bench, I'd bought it, I think, in the exhibition hall, sat down, started reading it, and absolutely, you know, lost my shit at Izuku versus Todoroki because I didn't know what was coming, and it was shocking to me, you know, babby in the anime fandom that I was, that Izuku lost.
I mean, it kind of is shocking though because Izuku loses in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, he loses, and he doesn't even make the finals.
Yeah, most of the time when a protagonist loses in a tournament arc in Shonen, it's like they lose in the finals.
Yeah, like
having made it all the way to the top.
Well,
but again,
for the original Dragon Ball, but like Goku in the original Dragon Ball, Goku participates in like 3 tournaments and he loses in the finals in each of them.
Mm-hmm.
So
except
Deku
the last
doesn't
one where he wins. Yeah.
Wait, which no? The first 2. I think the first 2 he loses.
He loses in the first 2. He wins in the third.
Yeah, he wins the third one. Yeah.
But, you know, my point is that, you know, if I had been spoiled on that by some asshole screaming, "Oh my god, I can't believe Deku lost in the quarterfinals against Todoroki," I wouldn't have that experience.
Yeah, the surprise is lost there.
And, you know, that's what I've been feeling with My Hero a lot.
Yeah, I can see that. But we don't need to talk about them now.
But yeah, that's
you know,
this is a separate issue. My point is that I am, you know, the point I was making is that as a result, you know, I enjoyed the most recent arc that I've read, but you know, I still haven't reached those highs of, you know, Izuku versus Todoroki, the Stain fight, the final exam, Izuku versus Muscular, which, spoiler warning, is still one of my favorite fights in all of My Hero. Might be my favorite fight, in fact. I think it is, yeah.
That's interesting.
I don't know what my favorite fight is, actually.
It's hard for me to put it, honestly, yeah.
But
there are a lot of really good fights.
There's a lot of fights I like.
Might be my favorite.
I don't know if there's like any favorite. I guess actually I have. There's one that sticks out, but that's like in Act 2.
But that's my point. Is that, you know, we're discussing favorite fights here, and only Koni was mentioned one from, you know, past Act 1, and I'm willing to bet I know exactly which one it is.
I was trying deliberately not to mention anything from Act 2. To be fair.
Yeah, same.
The Stain fight is really fucking good, though.
It is.
Yeah, that was a really good fight.
Yeah, there's some good Act 2 fights that I would like to highlight when we talk about it later at another point. But Act 1, we should start from the beginning, shouldn't we?
We should. We've been going for 10 minutes, so we should probably get going proper instead of just talking
Yep.
obliquely.
We should do a recap. We could just go arc by arc and say what's good about and bad about each of them.
So good news. Everybody has superpowers. Bad news, Izuku is not one of them.
Yeah, it's like what 80% of people have superpowers and 20% don't.
Yeah,
they say that. I'm gonna. So people who've listened before know that I am, a huge My Hero fan, and part of that is due to the fact that I am a big Tododeku fan, and as a result, I read a lot of fan fiction. I will be mentioning stuff from fan fiction, probably quite liberally. But one of the things that I do find interesting is that they give that 80% number, but they don't talk about whether that's a worldwide total. Is that a Japan total? What proportion of that 20%, if it is a Japan total, are kids like Izuku? How many of them are the older generation?
So, I can answer the kids one at least, because I think this comes up later in the manga, but the rate of quirkless has been dwindling with each generation.
Exactly. So you can say that that 20% of the population is quirkless, but if that's a worldwide figure, it might be different for Japan, and it very well looks like it's mostly an older generation, which leaves Izuku in a very, very bad situation. Especially considering, again, this is a little point later in Act 2. Quirks are getting stronger as the generations go.
Mm-hmm. We get some really busted ass quirks in Izuku's class.
Mm-hmm.
One of which belongs to resident jackass Katsuki Bakugo.
Yeah, gonna give this warning right now. If you're a fan of Bakugo, it's not gonna be a good time for him because he's a dick in Act 1.
Yeah, Act 1 is when Bakugo is probably at his absolute worst.
He is a self-entitled, violent bigot.
I honestly don't think that like his like reputation as like a character is like he's still incredibly divisive because of this, because of what he does in Act 1.
Yeah. And
no. His behavior in Act 1 kind of just soured him for a lot of people.
It's so bad. People are still divided on him even to this day.
And they've got a point. Even if you don't believe that Bakugo bullied Izuku throughout pretty much their entire childhood from the age of 4 to 14, even if you don't believe that, and frankly, there is very little evidence to deny that.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't.
It would be bullied him like from age 4, but it's pretty clear it's been going on for years.
Yeah, it's definitely been going on for years.
It would be very weird for us to get flashbacks of him doing it at age 4, 5, 6, whatever you want to say it started, and then go actually no. From that age until like 14, he didn't actually do anything. He just sort of left. It's just not consistent. But the point is that even if you believe that unlikely story at best, he still tells Deku to kill himself.
Yeah.
Apparently, Horikoshi regrets putting that in because it makes it harder to sympathize with Bakugo later.
I'm not surprised. I mean, I am sympathetic to the people who don't like Bakugo and somewhat agree with them. But the good thing is that I have never gotten that intention from Horikoshi of, oh no, Bakugo's fine the way he is. No, he has always been like, no, Bakugo's been a dick for a lot of this. He's got to improve.
Yeah,
he's not in the right place. He's got to develop here.
Yep.
And he slowly does, but the start of it at best is the final exam arc.
Yeah, best case scenario, that's when he starts to actually improving as a person.
Which is, what is it, 2/3, 3/4 of the way into Act 1?
Something like
I'd say
that.
I'd say that like we really start to understand why he feels the way he does. Like immediately after that, and then,
Yeah,
immediately after
I
was
feel
that
like
no wait
Bakugo
was that
becomes a much more understandable individual in Act 2.
oh yeah, that's the
In
beginning of
Act
Act 2.
1, he
Never
is an
mind. Never
asshole.
mind. I was thinking of like right after like the All Might fight. I'm like, wait, that's back 2.
Yeah, no, that's Act 2.
That's Act 2.
Yeah, that's, that is definitely when you start to see the signs of Bakugo's development. But we're not discussing that today, so all we get to talk about is Bakugo being a dick. Like he is here. Like he is at the start. Because, yes, the words he uses are if you want a quirk, you should jump off the roof and try and hope you get one in the next life. And yeah,
Which
that's
is
not right. That's
awful
terrible.
things. Awful.
Absolutely horrific. And I do not blame anyone who's like, nope, Bakugo is irredeemable from that.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that's
wish
like the
they
one
just,
thing.
go, all right, just going to leave him alone, just not going to, talk about him.
Ain't touching that.
But, whatever. It's a discussion for another day. Is Bakugo is a whole discussion in of itself, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
And one that we can't have without Gen or Fuzzy here, basically.
Oh, Get and Fuzzy would be going the fuck off.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Definitely those two.
But,
I don't blame them, honestly.
no, I don't.
Yeah,
And,
me neither. Me neither.
as I said, I am sympathetic to them. I don't go quite as far as especially Fuzzy does, because in that
Oh
I
yeah.
actually want to see him try and redeem himself rather than just, be killed brutally.
Die horrible. Yeah. Because
But
Fuzzy has expressed a frequent and fervent desire to see Bakugo die in agony.
yeah, but that doesn't. As I said, I am very much sympathetic to them. For example, the second My Hero movie, I've only watched it once because that ending really sits badly with me. Like really, really, I just can't do it. As much as I enjoyed, 95% of the movie, but that ending really fucking, and that
Oh yeah, that
climactic
was
battle really just was like I had a bad taste in my mouth. And
Yeah.
after I watched it, I went out of my way to message Get and Fuzzy and going, if you're thinking about seeing the My Hero movie, I might not.
Mm-hmm.
Because you aren't going to like
yeah.
what happens in it.
Yeah.
Because,
But
even if Bakugo redeems himself, in no world am I okay with, and spoilers for the ending of the second My Hero movie, in no world am I going to be okay with him ending up with One for All. No
I mean,
world.
well,
No
that's not
world.
happening.
No
That's
I
world.
not
won't
gonna
go into
happen.
why that won't happen because that's a spoiler for the manga, but
Mm.
that won't happen, fortunately.
And I'm glad, but
Mm-hmm.
it was especially bad because there was I think there was an interview saying where that had been a potential ending for the manga.
Yeah.
They'd redone it
Well,
for the movie.
Horikoshi just said that he had included an element in the movie that was part of the plan for the ending for the manga,
And
but he has since changed it.
everyone assumed that it was the
I think
Bakugo
what
all for
also
one for
Corey
all.
said for the movies is like the movies are there so that they can do things that they wouldn't normally do that they wouldn't do in the actual manga. So like in
Or
the first movie, you
can't
have
do, yeah.
Deku and All Might team up, and then in the second movie you have at the end of that movie.
Yeah. But yeah, we've got enough topic. So let's use One for All as a transition. So Izuku's attacked by a villain, saved by number one hero All Might. Izuku's
Idol, basically.
idol. Yep, idol.
Yeah.
That was the word I was looking for. Told he can't be a hero without a quirk. Izuku saves Bakugo from the same villain who managed to escape. and All Might offers Izuku his quirk one for all because he believes in his heroic potential. I
And we
just
find
like
out here that All Might is slowly fading because of an injury he suffered from a mysterious villain who is definitely not going to become relevant later.
the American comics industry that All Might is supposed to represent.
Pretty much.
Oh
I
boy.
definitely know TFS parody that Team 4-Star parody to that.
Yep, no, I stole that joke. I stole that joke.
Look, it's not a metaphor that doesn't stand up.
I'd also like to point out that again, people really took issue with All Might for saying that Izuku couldn't be a hero without a quirk. Like, I've seen some people taking that and running with it as a reason to bash All Might. And again, I am slightly sympathetic to them in that, yeah, it's bullshit. Of course Izuku could be a hero without a quirk.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, like, if anyone knows how dangerous and taxing hero work can be, it's All Might.
I know, but it's maybe Izuku couldn't become the number one hero, but he could become a hero.
Mm-hmm.
Because look at Aizawa. Aizawa fights 90% of the time quirkless.
I mean, he makes it quirkless for both participants because he deletes the other person's quirk too.
He doesn't fight mutant quirks in a full quirkless fight, does he?
I did say 90%.
But it's possible, and getting into the whatchamacallit, the spin-off Vigilantes, Knuckle Duster is quirkless. He just beats the shit out of everyone.
Classic.
Yeah, true.
Well, I genuinely think it could have been possible. Again, he couldn't become, a flashy spotlight hero like All Might. That
No.
that you probably do need a quirk to do. But if you're saying he couldn't be an underground hero like Aizawa,
there will always be room for Batmans.
yeah. And considering the amount of fucking support gear that exists, tell me that Hatsume wouldn't have frothed at the mouth to make gear for a quirkless Izuku.
Oh, she would have loved that. That would have
Yeah.
been great for her.
She would have lost her shit at the potential to do that. But that is a different series, unfortunately. In this series, Izuku gets a quirk.
And it is one for all, which Izuku cannot use without shattering every bone in the offending limb.
Yep.
Yep.
Another reason people bash All Might, he's not a good teacher.
Look, he took to his quirk like a fish takes to water. He did not expect it to have a learning curve for Izuku to need to get used to.
To be fair, he, maybe, didn't know it would absolutely be the solution, but, eventually he does come upon Gran Torino as a solution. Could he have not done that earlier? And obviously, part of it is, getting into the meta aspects of it. Horikoshi needed a reason for Izuku not to, win the sports festival and to make sure that there were stakes for using one for all, and for Izuku not to get many internship requests.
Yep. Yeah, because from what people see of Izuku's quirk at the sports festival, it is a very high risk, high reward type quirk.
Admittedly, I think he absolutely would have bodied Bakugo if they'd come across each other during the festival, despite this, but, that's just me.
Yeah. I mean, No, we can't talk about that. It's not Act 1. Never mind.
The
yeah,
point is that in an actual fight, yeah, Bakugo is probably going to come out on top, but the sports festival finals are, very regulated and have the whole if you fall out of the arena, you lose.
Yeah, and Bakugo would very easily fall afoul of that if he wasn't paying attention.
It's more the fact that all Izuku needs to do is, maybe he couldn't do it with one flick of a finger, but if he flicked two or went for a full arm, I don't think Bakugo's managing to stay in.
No, Bakugo's getting yeeted out of that arena.
Yeah, and therefore Izuku is winning. It's the fact that Todoroki is a fucking, cheat code of has a cheat code of a quirk. Which is, for a reason. But that's getting ahead of ourselves. Izuku trains for, 9 months?
Something like that. Better part of a year, yeah.
It was 10 months, I think.
10 months.
Yeah,
regardless, he gets absolutely jacked, and then he is able to handle all one for all.
Well, he's able to take it in without his limbs flying off, which is probably something All Might should have mentioned earlier.
Hey, it worked out, didn't it?
Eventually. But that meant it was time for the entrance exam for the most prestigious hero high school in the country, UA.
Yeah. UA.
Takes the exam, doesn't do very well because he doesn't know how to use this fucking quirk yet. But thankfully, rescue points are a thing. And Izuku just happens to rescue a pink-cheeked girl from a giant robot, smashing 3 of his limbs to bits in the process.
And she gets rescue points for saving him in turn.
Yep.
With her quirk, which lets her manipulate gravity. I really wish they did more with her because her quirk is busted as hell.
Yeah.
Okay, Uraraka. Okay. So, yeah, I really wish they did more
immediately presented. She's pretty immediately presented as an apparent love interest for Deku.
Yeah,
which is hilarious because of how Izuku reacts to her. Like, he doesn't like being called Deku until she suggests as a hero name. It's like, oh, that works great. Yeah, that's nice.
Yep.
Izuku does not have a lot of experience with social situations.
Yep. But
yeah, he's
he
kind
meets
of like a
and
shy,
befriends
dork, I guess. I don't know if they.
But he befriends 2 people right on the first day, so that's nice.
Yeah, that's true.
Mostly by accident.
But yeah, the aforementioned Ochako, Uraraka, and Tenya Ida.
Ida.
It's sad that all of their best stuff is seemingly in the first act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Uraraka peaks at Uraraka has Uraraka has a bunch of interesting stuff, mainly in a future arc in the first act.
Well, she has some good stuff in the Act 2 as well, but that's towards the end of Act 2.
Yeah.
Act 1, she doesn't get a lot of focus outside of the sports festival, unfortunately. She does great in the sports festival, to be fair, though.
I mean, she takes
Bakugo. Her sports festival fight's the peak.
She takes Bakugo to his limit, and Bakugo is basically the best pure fighter in the class.
I mean, he wins the tournament. He wins the tournament.
Yeah. There are worse things than losing to the future champion of the tournament.
He probably, as I said, I think he could have been beaten by Izuku. He absolutely would have lost to Shinso. Let's be honest. He would not have been able to shut himself up.
Yeah. I mean, he would have lost to Todoroki if Todoroki was actually giving his all.
But again, the point is that, Izuku, Shinso, and Todoroki's quirks are all broken as shit.
Yeah. Uraraka's quirk is broken as shit.
It is, but it unfortunately does have that, big drawback.
It does have a big handicap, yes.
Which is that if she uses it too much, she becomes queasy and starts to throw up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because something to do with center of gravity or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Know. A vertigo or something.
Anyway,
like
Zuko manages to get in on rescue points. On the first day of class, he meets his new homeroom teacher, Shota Aizawa, aka Eraserhead, the underground hero, whose quirk is the ability to nullify quirks. Which, really good quirk for a teacher.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially a class full of, over exuberant idiots, as quite a lot of Class A is.
Yep.
Aizawa's pretty fun.
Aizawa is good, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good teacher.
He's okay. He could be better.
True.
Part of it is, I don't know how much of it is he's not meant to be a good teacher, and how much of it is cultural differences there. Because personally, I feel like there are red flags all over Izuku and Bakugo, and yet, they persisted in sticking them together.
Yeah, no, it's not ideal. Especially during that one training exercise.
Mm-hmm. To be fair, that one wasn't Aizawa's fault. That one was All Might's fault.
Yes.
But Aizawa should have heard
And
of
to be
that and
fair,
realized that, these two don't go together.
Yeah. They weren't forced to team up, fortunately, but unfortunately they were put on opposing teams. So that's probably worse, actually.
Also, some idiot gave Bakugo 2 giant fucking bombs in his hands. So
I'm pretty sure that was his costume design that he chose.
yeah, well, it's fucking dumb to give a first year student that kind of firepower.
Mm-hmm.
It nearly leveled the fucking building.
Wait, do you want to talk about like Class 1A just in general for a bit?
Yeah,
because we forgot
Class 1A is a bunch of pretty colorful characters. I wish Horikoshi did a bit more with them.
That's like my big problem. That's also been like my big problem with Hiraka. He introduces like a lot of really cool really interesting characters with like really cool designs, but then barely does anything with them. Class 1A is a great example of that. Like, apart from like
them have almost no relevance in the plot.
Yeah. There's Midoriya, Bakugo, and Todoroki, which are like the characters that actually matter. There's a bunch of characters.
There are a bunch of second tier Class 1A characters like Ida, Uraraka,
Kirishima,
Kaminari.
Like they get focused for like an arc or two, or like something like that. I'd say Tokoyami's in there. That's considered later arcs.
Probably Yayorozu and Suyu as well.
So maybe
Tokoyami. I love Tokoyami.
Tokoyami's great.
I don't even see. I wouldn't even say Suyu anymore. But like, yeah,
I mean,
actually,
Suyu
no. Yeah,
early on does get some.
Suyu early on, yeah. Suyu early on, yes. Man, she was really popular early on. But like,
I would say that there is one member of Class A that nobody wants to get more screen time or development, and yet is the one who gets what is probably near the top of the second tier.
I wouldn't say he's. I wouldn't think. I don't think he gets that much relevance. Maybe.
Relevance. He just gets screen time, which is
no. I mean, I don't even think Mineta gets that much screen time. I mean, I guess he plays a role in like the USJ incident, but I don't think he really has
USJ.
USJ and the final exam really are the only ones.
Final exam, yeah.
That's like the only time that he's relevant. It's just that whenever he gets screen time, no one.
Everybody hates it because he's a great themed pervert.
No one likes it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why can't he be replaced by the superior purple Shinso?
That's like a long running like. Even from the beginning, that's like what everyone fucking did when they wrote like Hiraka fan.
Oh yeah, there are legitimately like there's legitimately tags that are like Minoru Mineta does not exist in this universe, or Shinso replaces Mineta in Class 1A.
Good.
Or
An
if he
ideal
does
solution.
appear, he gets kicked out immediately for being a pervert.
Or going back to like the team, or going back to like the Team 4-star parodies. Like they just make no one like him. Like I don't think Deku likes him. I was like, I think there's this joke near the end. Like no wait, that's Act 2. But like there's this joke like Deku's like what. Like Deku's like watching Deku's watching his friends, and then when Mineta's up, he just like goes.
No, that's Act 1. It's
watching.
the final exams. Like
Yeah,
because in the manga they're like happening all at the same time. In the anime they happen one after another. So Izuku with his analysis abilities watches all of them. But in the TFS version of it, like, oh, I'm so glad I'm watching all of these fantastic future heroes. Mineta's exam comes up. Izuku walks out.
yeah.
Deku, don't you want to watch? Nope.
No, I think I'll pass. Okay. But yeah,
The worst
like
part is that
Bakugo may
Mineta
be the
has
most
a
divisive. I think
power.
Mineta's like the one character people actually dislike.
Mineta is easily the most hated character.
Well, he's the most
the
disliked character. He's definitely the most. Yeah, he's definitely the most hated.
But the point, that's one of those things where I'm like, this is probably a cultural difference, but really doesn't speak well to Aizawa that he's letting this go ahead. Because just some of the comments he makes should have seen him, fucking suspended or chucked out.
Yeah. But yeah, regardless, back to the actual events at hand.
So meets Aizawa, has a test on the first day. Thankfully, Aizawa sees enough heroic potential in him to let him stay, despite finishing last. First heroics lesson is unfortunately with All Might, who doesn't know how to teach. 2-on-2 battles. Izuku and Uraraka versus Bakugo and Ida. Things get out of hand, though Izuku and Uraraka do win.
But Ida's the only one who is actually doing his job properly. Hilariously enough. That's what comes up in the final assessments, if I recall correctly.
I mean, I think it's, harsh to discredit Izuku and Uraraka. Uraraka's main fault is that she couldn't help but laugh at Ida's fucking villainous monologue.
Well, it wasn't just that. It was also her using the debris as projectiles, which could have set off the quote-unquote bomb.
I suppose, yeah.
So, a bit of recklessness there. Yeah. No, I do find it a little bit harsh on Izuku and Uraraka, but I do find it hilarious that Ida was considered the only one doing his job properly.
I mean, the point is that if Uraraka had, managed to keep her silence and been, managed to stay in stealth, she probably could have touched the fucking weapon without Ida even noticing because of his monologuing.
Yep. That would have been nice.
So yeah, that happens. Ida becomes class president. There's an attack. There's an incursion on the UA grounds that seems to be just the reporters, but suspicious things are afoot. But the class goes to the USJ. The
unforeseen simulation joint.
Unforeseen simulation joint. That was it. Where they're going to learn about rescue scenarios, except they're not because they're attacked by the League of Villains, led by Shigaraki.
Good old Shiggy. The Shigmeister.
Bad touch.
And
Bad touch. Yeah.
Bad touch. Because his quirk literally disintegrates anything he touches with all 5 fingers of the hand.
Yep.
He could Thanos people. Like you could like Thanos people.
Mm-hmm. Tack goes off. They're there to kill All Might. All Might's not there because he was a fucking idiot and used up all of his time. So the kids have to deal for a while. All Might eventually shows up, defeats the secret weapon Nomu, and manages to bluff long enough for the rest of the teachers to come, and that is the end of season 1.
Yep. Gotta say, All Might versus Nomu is a fan favorite fight for a good reason.
It's a fan favorite fight in the anime. I remember. Yeah. I don't think it was the first time I watched, but it was on a subsequent rewatch, especially finding the fight on YouTube. But I went back and reread the fight, and it's it's good, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's anything especially special. Basically,
it's mainly because of like the animators that worked on that fight.
The anime, it was meant to be that climactic fight at the end of season 1. So they put and
it worked.
They put all their efforts
the soundtrack
into.
Helped a lot.
They put all their efforts into animating it well. They put Yusei Run Over as the soundtrack, and and the voice actors went fucking ham.
Yeah, like I think one of the animators I remember working on this Hakyu Go, who would work on like some really, really good, like some of the best like Mob Psycho episodes. I should look him up. I should look him up. But he worked on that fight scene. Particular. That was like a preview for what he'd do with like Mob Psycho.
Yeah.
Besides the third season coming out. Apparently the trailer came out. Apparently the trailer for the third season came out and it's really good. But
apparently it just spoiled some things though, so I'm staying away from it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, just getting off topic for a second, I don't know whether that's, actually spoiling something or spoiling in the way of, oh my god, I can't believe they left all those broccoli signs throughout the show, spoiling what's going to happen at the end of season 2.
So that's the funny thing about spoilers. A lot of the time, spoilers are spoilers if you have the context.
I won't say a lot of the time, but sometimes they don't make sense without the context. And in that sense, they're not spoilers, that's foreshadowing.
Yeah. Foreshadowing are just like, set up. Good old Chekhov's gun.
Like the foreshadowing to that broccoli shit at the end of season 2 of Mob Psycho. I was in fucking awe at how long they'd been keeping it going.
Yeah, it's great.
I loved it because, that's good foreshadowing. If you can put in something that actually manages to, hint at something later and it only becomes, recognizable either barely on the first watch or, on the rewatch when you go, oh my god, that was foreshadowing for this. You've done a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so yeah, that's the first season of the anime. I mean, the big
second season covers, I believe, the Sports Festival, Hero Killer, and
Final Exam
arcs.
Final Exam, yeah. The first season of the anime is like it's good, but it's not really where like the series like really shine.
There's two
it's a nice introduction.
There's two big moments in the first season of the anime. One is All Might versus Nomu, of course, and the other one is Izuku versus Bakugo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are like the two big fights in season 1.
Season 1's kind of like Hero Aka finding its footing and finally starting to get itself on its feet with the end of the USJ.
Mm-hmm.
But the Sports Festival arc is where the series really finds its really grows the beard, I think.
Yep, because we get a proper focus on Izuku's boyfriend, Shoto Todoroki.
Come on, Mel.
No, I'm not dropping this. They're boyfriends.
He's not Deku's boyfriend yet.
No, he's not.
He is in my mind. I'm not dropping this.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. each their own. But yes, I will say it is nice seeing some of the other class members get a little bit more focus in this arc because
I mean, to be fair, you know,
it doesn't.
USJ arc managed to give some of them some focus.
Unfortunately, one of them was Mineta.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, you've got Mineta and Sue with Izuku. You had Bakugo and Kirishima together.
Oh yeah, Kirishima's fun.
There's
a little bit of Kaminari and
Kaminari, Jiro, and Yaoyorozu.
Yeah, Kaminari, Shiro, and Yaoyorozu appear together, which is really funny in hindsight.
Tokuyami and Koda got a little bit to do, as did Ojiro to an extent.
Tokuyami really starts coming into his own during the sports festival arc, I think.
Yeah, I love Tokuyami.
The sports festival, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he teams up with Izuku.
Really well. He makes the semifinal.
Yeah, he teams up with Izuku in the second round.
Yeah, and then he makes it to the semifinals. I think it was Bakugo who eliminates Tokuyami.
It is,
because of the quirk rock paper scissors.
Yeah,
basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tokuyami is fun. Trying to remember who all else made it to the tour.
So let's see. So first round, Izuku versus Shinso. Todoroki versus
first
Sero.
we need to talk about the composition of the tournament because there's 2 qualifying rounds for the tournament.
Yes, we do. Okay.
There's the race and the cavalry battle.
Yep. Izuku wins the race. I was so happy for him.
Yeah, that was nice. And he won the race without using his quirk once.
Yeah. See? You don't need a quirk.
It just required a lot of improvisation.
He can do that. He's smart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to stop harping on about this either.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, Izuku wins the race with Bakugo and Todoroki coming second and third. I'm not sure if that's respectively.
I don't recall.
I think Todoroki comes second.
Yeah.
Oh, because Izuku wins the race, he gets
in the cavalry battle they have points totals, and because UA are dicks, they decide to give so it's like representative of where you finished in the race. So from 1 to 42. So 42nd has 5 points. 41st has 10 points, and so on and so forth. Because UA are dicks, they gave first place 1 million points.
So basically, if you have the first place medal, you are guaranteed to spot in the tournament.
If you keep the 1 million points, you are guaranteed to spot in the tournament. All that gets you in the cavalry battle is a big old fucking target.
Yeah, pretty much.
And to be fair, Izuku and his team of Uraraka, Hatsume from the support course, and Tokuyami manages to keep that shit for, 95% of the cavalry battle.
Mm-hmm.
It's only when Ida pulls out like a hidden special move that they lose it.
And even then, Izuku and Coach still managed to get into the tournament.
By, overwhelming Todoroki.
Mm-hmm. Forget who's on Todoroki's team.
Kaminari, Yaoyorozu, Ida.
Right. Yeah, and they all made it to the tournament too.
Yeah. Bakugo's team also makes it to the tournament by bullying some 1B kids who were dumb enough to get his attention.
Yeah, including Resident 1B jackass Monoma.
Oh, Monoma. You fucking idiot.
Uh-huh.
And the final group is Team Shinso.
Yes.
Though weirdly, 2 of his members drop out because they can't remember any of the cavalry battle.
Yes, and I believe 2 people are asked to sub in for them in place.
It was what's his face, Metal Kirishima, and
Tetsu
and Shiozaki.
Yes, Vine Nun.
Yep. So between the cavalry battle and the one-on-one finals, Todoroki decides that a good conversation starter is his sordid past.
Yes, and it turns out he is the son of the number 2 hero, who, aka Endeavor, aka a colossal abusive jackass.
Flaming dickbag, yes. Who, yeah, basically, number 2 hero wanted to beat All Might but couldn't with his own power, so he decides to give eugenics a try. Married a woman with an ice quirk compared to his fire quirk, and kept having kids until one had both an ice and fire quirk, which was Todoroki. And then started training him from when his quirk came in at age 4. It wasn't gentle training, let's put it that way.
Nope.
Unfortunately, the stress of watching her kids either get abandoned or trained into the ground, and the fact that Endeavor, doesn't save his ire for just his kids, does kind of make Todoroki's mum lose it a bit, and she because Todoroki's whole deal is he's basically a I don't know the correct term. Something chimera. Hetero something chimera.
Heterochromia?
That's only for the eyes, but basically
okay.
He's split down the middle. One side of him is from his father, the other side is from his mother. Unfortunately,
I think it's genetic chimera, but
something like that, yeah. But the point is that when he was, I believe, 6, his mum, while having a mental breakdown, only saw the Endeavor half of him and chucked boiling water at him, resulting in the scar that he has. I would like to point out that there is an image out there. So I think it was for the manga. So I think it was a Viz created poster where Todoroki doesn't have his fucking scar. I know this because I have said poster, and I didn't realize for a year.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
It must be weird all on the level of seeing, like, Zuko without his scar.
Yeah, it's very, very weird.
It's just such a distinctive feature.
Mm-hmm. I cannot find it. It used to be on Viz. I'm fairly sure it used to be the header image, but they've changed it to the volume 2 cover, which is Izuku and Bakugo staring at each other.
I'm gonna look this up.
I'm trying to find it, but that's just something I wanted to point out because I vividly remember I just put the poster up in my first year flat at university, but I'd gotten it I think
he looks so fucking weird without the scar. Good God.
Yeah. Oh, you post it? Give me a minute.
It's literally just a quick Google image search.
Oh, okay.
Well, post it so I can put it up and show the people, because I'm struggling to find it.
Really? Okay.
What did you search?
I literally looked up Scarless Todoroki.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I was searching for the manga poster itself.
Oh no, I didn't look for the manga poster. I just looked up what he looks like without a scar, and it's jarring. You can look it up yourself if you need to.
Oh yeah, this isn't the poster though. It's just people taking Todoroki's scar away.
Yes. I mean, it has the same effect though, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It looks weird. That Prince Zuko looking motherfucker.
Yep.
But yes, Todoroki decides that his sordid past is a good conversation starter, and tells Izuku between the rounds. Final round begins. So I'm gonna try and try and remember every single match here. So as I said, first one, Izuku versus Shinso. Todoroki versus Sero. Sero, who was on Bakugo's team. I'm gonna go out of order now because I can't remember the exact order, but Kaminari versus Shiozaki.
Ida
Ida
versus
versus Hatsume. Ashido versus Aoyama.
Yeah, that was one of them.
Tokoyami versus Yaoyorozu.
Yeah.
And I believe we have
Kirishima versus Tetsu, and Bakugo
Yep.
versus Uraraka. That's all of them.
Yep. And of those, Bakugo, Izuku, Shiozaki, Ida, Tokoyami, and a couple
Ashido.
others advance.
Ashido and Kaminari advance. Not Kaminari. Ashido. Izuku beats Shinso. Todoroki turns fucking Sero into a glacier. Kaminari wastes his fucking full power on Shiozaki's vine, so Shiozaki goes through. Hatsume uses Ida as a walking advertisement and then drops out because she, achieved her goal of advertising herself, so Ida went through. Ashido used her acid to burn through Aoyama's pants.
And also his quirk assisting device.
Yep. So she went through. Tokoyami just overwhelmed Yaoyorozu. Kirishima and Tetsu beat each other into a fucking pulp, and then Kirishima won with a post-match arm wrestle, and Bakugo outlasted Uraraka.
Yeah.
Uraraka's strategy was fucking great, though.
Yeah, it almost worked.
Yeah, her fight with Bakugo was like it's like arguably her best moment in this entire series.
I think it's actually really said because Izuku does offer to give her a strategy, but I think the strategy she chooses is not the one Izuku would have gone for.
No, it's not. It's not.
No.
So real smarts from Uraraka there, and it was just unfortunate that Bakugo's quirk is busted.
Yeah, he's really broken as fuck, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the point is that she pushed him more than anybody else in the fucking tournament, and that includes Todoroki in the final.
Yep.
So second round, save the big one for the end, but Ida uses his speed to just push Shiozaki out. Tokoyami beats Ashido somehow, probably just pushes her out. And Bakugo blasts through Kirishima's hardening. So he gets the it was technically the first match of the quarterfinals, but the last one we're covering. Izuku versus Todoroki. Because Izuku has gone in his dumb heroic brain to try and help
mid-battle therapy.
To try and help Todoroki, because Todoroki's whole deal is that he has got a fire and ice quirk, but he only uses the ice part of it because he refuses to use what he sees as his father's fire quirk. Izuku takes umbrage with that, and throughout the fight decides to keep poking and prodding at Shoto's trauma. Eventually managing to get through to him. After, we should point out, Izuku had broken all the fingers on his on both of his hands twice, and broken an arm. So, and yet Izuku had the temerity to say, "You haven't put a scratch on me." He doesn't need to, buddy. You're doing it yourself. Um, so Todoroki starts using his fire. Izuku also decides to go all out. They have a big fucking explosion in the middle because, as it turns out, physics does count because Todoroki has been using his ice powers a lot and therefore supercooling the air, and then he decides to heat it all up again with his fire, which is a bad.
This is a big boom.
Yeah.
Big old boom. Um,
I think I I'm pretty sure Todoroki uses this again.
yes, he does.
It
He does
has a name.
actually.
It has a name.
Later on, he does actually use that as a move.
Yeah.
Combining his powers, which is smart of him for sure.
Hmm.
But in the ensuing explosion, Izuku is knocked out of bounds and is eliminated from the tournament. Semi-finals, Todoroki freezes Ida's engines up pretty quickly, and Bakugo. Well, Tokoyami's quirk is that he's got a shadow beast living inside of him, which is metal as fuck. But as the shadow part of the name implies, it's weak to light, and Bakugo's quirk is essentially just light.
Well,
Yeah.
his quirk is explosions, which generate both light and force.
Yeah. So it's an unfair advantage, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And
Bakugo just has a busted-ass quirk.
He does. In the finals, Todoroki versus Bakugo. Todoroki is unfortunately still very conflicted about using his fire, and as a result, Bakugo wins.
Yep. He was about to use his fire at one point, but he doesn't go through with it, and Bakugo knocks him out in the following attack.
Guess who was going to get him to use his fire, though, in that fight as well? Izuku, because they're boyfriends.
Your shipper flag is flying high, Mel.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't fucking hide this shit.
No, you don't need to. Nothing to be ashamed of. I'm just making a note.
The only ship that's better than
Yeah.
Totodeku is Totodeku Raka.
Yes, the good old OT3.
Yep.
Mm.
But yes, whatchamacallit. Yeah, Bakugo is furious about winning against someone who is fighting at a handicap, and has to be restrained on the podium.
I did. That's one of the bits that I also don't like. Seemed unnecessary to chain up a teenager.
I do find his anger funny in these kinds of scenarios, but I can see where you're coming from.
The point is that they're chaining up a teenager who likely already has trauma from the slime incident. Because let's be real, Bakugo is a very messed up person who does not go to therapy.
Bakugo probably doesn't even know that therapy exists. Let's be real.
So I imagine, that brought flashbacks. And, as we see later in this act, it was, that caused the League of Villains to target Bakugo.
Yep.
So
but
no,
that's an arc away.
I find it hard to laugh at that.
Cover.
I find it hard to laugh at that bit.
Yeah, no, I get that.
So, post sports festival, we get the internship arcs,
aka the Hero Killer Stain
the
arc.
Stain arc, yeah.
Because students are based on how they did at the sports festival, are offered 5 days at hero agencies. Unsurprisingly, Bakugo and Todoroki get the most offers. But Izuku, despite, going out in the quarterfinals and only showing himself off to break his limbs, does get an offer from a hero called Gran Torino, who terrifies the shit out of All Might. Because Gran Torino is not All Might's mentor, but is the friend of All Might's mentor, who trained him when All Might's mentor died. And put the fear of God into him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, All Might's leg starts involuntarily twitching when he brings up Gran Torino.
Yeah, that's great.
I found it! I found the fucking image with Scarlet's Todoroki.
Oh my god.
It's not quite the same poster that I've got, but it's the same image. As I said, it was like the official fucking whatchamacallit, My Hero image that Viz had for a while. Alright, let's put that there. Give me a second, because I just need to get the right dimensions going. Oh, the other thing that we forgot to mention is that during the sports festival, Ida's brother, the pro hero Ingenium, is attacked and badly injured by a villain called the Hero Killer Stain.
And that really sets Ida off.
Yeah, the issue with people as rigid as Ida, they don't tend to break when bad things come. They break.
Yeah.
They don't bend, you mean?
Yeah, they don't bend, they break. Here it is. Look at Todoroki. He doesn't have the scar. It's weird as shit. As I said, I have a poster that basically looks like that. And, like, I was like, I said, I had it on my wall for a year. It was only, like, when I moved places and put it up somewhere else, I was like, holy shit, Todoroki doesn't have a scar!
Wild.
Anyway, so, Izuku goes to intern with Gran Torino. Todoroki interns with his shitbag of a father because he decides he needs to start learning how to use his fire properly. I feel like there are other fire heroes he could have gone with, but whatever. Bakugo goes to intern with Best Genist, who I believe was the third, fourth highest ranked hero.
At the time.
Fourth highest ranked hero.
Fourth.
But because Bakugo is a fucking idiot, that was actually a terrible choice.
I don't know. Best Genist is actually does put some discipline into him at least. If nothing else, Bakugo does respect Genist.
He does. There are better heroes he could have interned with, I think.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm just kind of surprised and impressed that he actually respects the man.
Yeah. I mean, Best Genist is a very respectable man, even if he wears old denim.
Wearing all denim is not very respectable.
But no, he does not get to number 4 hero for nothing.
Yeah.
Uraraka goes with the hero Gunhead, Sue with Selkie, and so on and so forth until we get to Ida, who interns with a hero called Manuel based in Hosu City. Which doesn't seem weird until you learn that Hosu is where his brother was injured and where the Hero Killer Stain is hunting.
Yep.
Another reason where I was like, or another point where I was like, teachers, maybe you should have stepped in here. And gone, maybe sending the traumatized Ida to where the Hero Killer is a bad idea.
Look, Bill, you're assuming a lot about teachers in Japan in general.
Again,
one is that they are they are particularly fine-tuned towards individual students and their respective mental issues.
Again, the point is, I don't know how much of it is, those cultural differences, or how much Aizawa was not actually a great teacher. Um,
I'd say a bit of column A, a bit of column B.
Either way, Ida sent to Hosu. Bad idea, because well, first we got to get to Izuku's internship, where he learns
He
that
learns to not crush the egg.
as it turns out, it's a bad idea sticking 100% of his power into one fucking limb.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Learns that he should have been.
do
Yeah,
it like
it's a bad idea to break your fucking limbs, even if you're to save people.
As it turns out, he can actually spread that shit throughout his body, and it actually makes him a lot more versatile.
yep.
Also, Gran Torino is a Yoda type because Horikoshi is a fucking Star Wars nerd.
Who isn't
Yeah.
a Star Wars nerd?
Hello.
I mean, there's a lot of Star
No.
Wars stars. I feel like
Horikoshi, though. Horikoshi does have a lot of it, though.
yeah, I mean,
Look.
he straight up. I think he drew the post. He drew like a poster for the Last Jedi.
He did draw a
It
poster
would
for
only
Last
be
Jedi,
more
yeah.
of a Star Wars nerd if he consistently drew people losing hands.
Oh, yeah,
wait.
true.
Oh, wait.
We'll get to that.
Put it this way: the beach so for Izuku's training to receive One for All, he cleaned up a beach. You want to know what that beach was called? Dagobah Beach.
What? God
Oh
damn
yeah,
it.
oh yeah, I forgot. Like a lot of the locations are basically just Star Wars locations, or basically Star Wars
The
locations.
place that Izuku lives is called Musatafu.
Musatafu, Japan.
Mustafar, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot about that little detail until you reminded me. Yeah, a lot of the locations in Hiraka are just Star Wars locations renamed.
And, at the climax to Act 1, Horikoshi pretty much pulled Luke, I am your father.
Mm-hmm.
In a different sense, to be fair. He didn't do exactly that, but, he did it close enough that you go, yeah, this is Horikoshi's Star Wars coming out again, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
I mean, All for One's design is very Darth Vader-esque.
It is. Anyway, Izuku learns how to not just use One for All throughout his entire body, but limit it to 5%. And he's fucking terrifying at 5%, so you can imagine what he's going to be like if he ever manages to reach 100% all throughout it, 100% full cowl.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which obviously, yeah, that's going to be terrifying. Gran Torino decides to take him out for a patrol, where they pass through Hosu City. And guess what? Because Izuku's fucking villain catnip, the League of Villains happens to be staging an attack there just as they're passing through. Now that's bad enough. It's bad enough that there are, I believe, 3 Nomus, charging around causing chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Admittedly, not as strong as the one from the USJ, but still pretty bad. What makes things worse is that Ida took this as an opportunity to run away and find the hero killer.
Yep.
And because, Ida is a dumb teenager who is not that inventive with his powers, let's be real. Admittedly, he doesn't have a power he can, really make inventive use out of off the top of my head, but he still could be better than just charging in like a fucking bull. But because of that, Stain takes him down pretty easily, about to kill him, until Izuku shows up, having figured out that, Ida was going to be a fucking idiot about this.
Uh-huh.
Izuku manages to send out basically a come help us beacon to the rest of his class. Unfortunately, the vast majority of them are not in Hosu to help. The one who is Izuku's boyfriend, Shoto Todoroki. Admittedly, he wasn't in Hosu because he's Izuku's boyfriend, but he came to help because he's Izuku's boyfriend.
I mean, Izuku just pinged him on Discord. He was like, right away, babe. That's not what actually happened. He dropped his GPS location.
Hey Todoroki. Hey Todoroki, Stain's at my house. I'm on my way.
Yeah.
But between the two of them,
Jokes aside,
so Stain's quirk is actually really interesting, because basically
he basically
if he drinks
if
somebody's
he
blood, it paralyzes them.
and how long they're paralyzed depends on their blood type.
Yeah. Um, Luckily, Izuku has the blood type that is that has the shortest stopping period. So Izuku is able to be paralyzed, I think, a couple of times actually.
Yep.
He gets paralyzed once before Todoroki shows up. And he gets paralyzed again while they're fighting, which but then Ida gets up in time to save Todoroki. Allows Izuku to stay under the radar and do a pincer attack with Ida.
Yeah, we don't. I don't think we. I don't think Todoroki gets down at any point.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't get paralyzed, but he gets a couple of knives through the forearm.
Oh yeah, no, still injury.
To be fair, it's worse for Ida, who also gets some knives through the forearm, but also a sword through the shoulder.
Ida gets fucked up.
Ida gets a real fucked up. So does Izuku, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because while he is now not breaking his bones like their glow sticks, he does get lose concentration near the end, and I think just fracture a leg. Or was it a wrist? I think it was a wrist.
I think it was a wrist, yeah. Because Todoroki mentions at the end, like, he must be cursed to cause people to injure their arms.
To be fair, that was more that was more to do with what Izuku
Yeah,
did to his own fucking hand at the sports festival.
No, but Ida also had arm
Yes.
injuries.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
But yes, that Todoroki starts thinking of himself as the hand crusher, which is hilarious. And also started a fanon of Todoroki being a conspiracy theorist, which is fucking hilarious. Well, actually, no. It was that and the fact that Todoroki's first guess for Izuku and All Might's relationship was, is Izuku All Might's secret love child or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, depending on, the fan theory, not inaccurate. Because, there's three main theories for Izuku's parentage. Either it's
Either it's that it's legit as is, and his dad is just away for work.
Yeah, either Izuku's dad is just a nobody who's away for work, or it's All Might, or it's All for One.
I've seen so many jokes about All for One being Izuku's dad.
Dad for one, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they defeat Stain. The other heroes show up. Izuku is unfortunately picked up by a winged Nomu, but thankfully Stain kills the fuck out of it, having escaped his bonds. But, as it turns out, being kicked in the chest by a rocket leg is quite bad for your health.
Yeah.
Yep.
Quite bad for your health. Now, they're in the hospital, all is well, except that the chief of police is here. Because as it turns out, people are not allowed to use their quirks without a license. Izuku, Todoroki, and Ida did not have that license, or permission from their mentors. So instead they let that shitbag Endeavor take the credit for Stain's capture.
Unfortunate.
Which honestly kind of makes things worse in the long run.
Yep.
But we'll get to that later. I'd also like to point out that this is evidence that if Izuku had become a quirkless vigilante, he would not have been breaking the law. Because they specifically they specifically say you can't be a hero using a quirk without a license. Izuku wouldn't have been using a quirk.
Ah.
Loopholes.
Yep. And frankly, if they'd fought Stain quirkless, they would have been fine. You might have been able to get Ida on an assault charge, but even then, as long as he said, "Oh no, I saw that," he was about to kill Native, Ida probably would have gotten away with it with a fair jury.
Mm-hmm.
But no, those dumbasses use their quirks.
They are Dumases, after all. They kind of had to use their quirks, though.
Yeah,
Stain is
no,
kind of a beast.
Todoroki especially had to use his quirk. Yeah, I'll give him that.
Yeah, no, Stain gets up after a rib punctures one of his lungs.
Yeah.
And still has enough swagger to intimidate every pro hero present.
Stain is a tough motherfucker. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Um,
Say what you will about his ideology and how flawed it is. The man is devoted to that ideology, and he is also intimidating as all fuck.
I mean, Stain is very much the epitome of like his reasoning is sound. It's just the way he's going about it.
Yeah.
Like, because he's not wrong. The hero industry
He's
is not
not.
good.
Mm.
And it's just the fact that he decided to start killing people to fix it. And
Yeah, to prove his point.
the fact is that he had a very skewed idea of or potentially had a skewed idea of what made a bad hero, because look, we don't know every hero that Stain went after. We only know Native and Ingenium Tensei
Ingenium. Yeah.
We can make a guess based on Tenya, Tensei's brother, and Tensei's depiction in Vigilantes, that Ingenium the hero was not a bad hero.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't.
So, it's very, very strange that Stain chose to target him.
I believe it was because of celebrity, because he was a celebrity or something like that.
Maybe. In which case, yeah, Stain's criteria for a false hero is wrong, is bad. There are much worse heroes out there that he could have targeted.
Like Endeavor, for instance.
Endeavor, some heroes that we meet later on. I mean, if he was going after heroes that for. So the point of a hero doing media appearances is a false hero is if it gets in the way of their heroing. We don't get the impression that happens for Ingenium necessarily. If you
Definitely doesn't happen with All Might.
Yeah. All Might manages to do both the publicity and save people, so that's why he's okay in Stain's eyes. Apparently, Ingenium didn't meet that criteria. But, a hero that we meet in this arc that, would have been more suitable from that criteria is Uwabami, the hero that Kendo and Yayorozu interned with. Because as far as we know, she never went out on patrol with them.
Yeah. There's also Mount Lady, who would also be an example, who is much more celebrity focused at this point.
That's that's the nature of the society that they've created by making these heroes celebrities. Somebody like Mount Lady, who is a newcomer on the scene, has to force a presence through to make sure she can actually make it.
Get work.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the end of the hero killer arc. So we get to the final exam arc. We need to sort of speed up a bit.
So final exams, there are 10 total exams that go on. We don't need to go over all of them. We
I
can talk about
want to
what
try
they
and
are
remember. I
and their
want to try and
results.
remember. We won't go over all of them, but I want to try and remember all of them. So obviously we've
I
got.
already have all of them pulled up.
Yeah, I want to do it on memory though.
All right.
This is a pride thing.
All right.
So Izuku and Bakugo versus All Might.
Yep, that's the obvious one.
Yeah.
Todoroki and Yaoyorozu versus Aizawa.
Yeah.
Correct.
Sue and
That's the
Tokoyami
other big one.
versus Ectoplasm.
Yep.
Yeah. That's right.
Aoyama and Uraraka versus 13.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shoji and Hagakure versus Snipe.
Yep.
Sero and Mineta versus Midnight.
Yep.
Yep.
Ida and Ojiro versus Power Loader.
Yep.
Okay.
Jiro and Koda versus Present Mike.
Yep.
Yep.
Ashido and Kaminari versus Nezu.
Mm-hmm.
Kirishima and Sato versus fuck, what's his name? Fucking concrete dude, the English teacher.
Yeah.
Mentos.
Cementos, that was it, Cementos.
Cementos, yeah. That should be all of them.
Is that all of them?
I believe so.
Yeah, that should be all of them. Yeah.
So none of them faced against Vlad King. Interesting.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, Vlad King was probably dealing with
like,
1B.
I think. Yeah, he's just class 1B.
Yeah, but how
Which
could
we kind
they?
of completely skipped over, even though like some of them are introduced in the.
I mean, how would they be able to do the exams at the same time with 10 teachers taking care of 1A?
I don't know.
They have another 9 fucking heroes that they can just chuck at 1B. They've got to have teachers for the rest of the fucking school. Anyway, that's beside the point. So yeah, I think the only ones we really need to focus on, obviously, Izuku and Bakugo versus All Might, Todoroki and Yaoyorozu versus Aizawa. Is there anyone else we really need to focus on?
I think the big ones are the one versus Aizawa and versus All Might.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the big. Yeah, those are the
ones that get the most focus.
Yeah, those get the most.
I do find it funny that Kaminari and Ashido get absolutely wrecked by Nezu, though.
Yeah, that was never going to end well for them.
Yeah.
They're Leroy Jenkins types, and they're going up against someone who is the smartest person in the school.
Mm-hmm. The smartest person in the country, if not the world.
Yes.
The point of Nezu is that he is a genius.
Correct.
And that is his quirk. Also, he is some animal chimera.
His species is very intentionally confusing.
Yeah.
The main fanon that I have seen is that he is the majority, because obviously he is a chimera. He does have DNA from different animals, but the main, like the base that they started with, the fanon is that it's a stoat.
I can see that.
Obviously, probably never going to get that in canon, but whatever. I find it interesting one because it's a way for people to especially Izuku, to show their intelligence off to Nezu. Like, oh, what am I? You're a stoat, sir. Good boy. We're going to take over the world together. That sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Those are always fun.
Anyways, yeah.
So we'll start with
Kaminari and Ashido fail.
Sato and Kirishima fail because they just try and punch through Cementos's walls, and that goes
they
poorly.
try to brute force Cementos, who just has unlimited cement.
Mineta passes, Sero doesn't, because Sero
because Sero got knocked out and had to be carried by Mineta.
Yeah. Uraraka and Aoyama pass. Everyone else passes, basically.
Yeah. But the big fights, the big exams we need to talk about are let's talk about Yaoyorozu and Todoroki's fights
Yeah.
with Aizawa, because part of the thrust of this one is that Yaoyorozu is having confidence issues after being so thoroughly decimated by Tokoyami in the tournament,
Mm-hmm.
and she feels like she
Yeah.
isn't really worthy of being in the hero course after that.
So basically, the point of the exams is to target specific weaknesses.
Yeah.
So, for example, for Arshido and Kaminari was so that to try and make them think more. Kirishima and Sato to try and show them that there are different ways of winning than just brute force.
Didn't work for either of those teams.
No, because they didn't figure it out. For
No.
Todoroki and Yaoyorozu, Todoroki's is that he relies on his quirk too much, therefore he was put up against Aizawa. And to be fair, so does Yaoyorozu. But the point of Yaoyorozu was to, show her that she is not just her quirk, she has to have confidence in herself.
Yep. And she manages to rally and team up properly with Todoroki.
It's a smart plan, actually.
Yeah.
Because what they do is they use a flashbang to first they trick Aizawa because they ostensibly hide beneath a sheet so that Erasure can't work on them, but it turns out to be a dummy. They then use a flashbang on Aizawa so that he closes his eyes. And then Yaoyorozu creates basically a version of Aizawa's capture weapon that responds to heat. So Yaoyorozu launches it, in a bundle at Aizawa. It surrounds him, spread out. Todoroki sends a jet flame at them, and the material restricts and ties up Aizawa. It's a smart plan.
It works really well.
It shows that Yaoyorozu is very smart. I think she's the first in the academic portion of the final exam.
I believe she ranked first in the written exam.
Yeah, so let me think off the top of my head. I'm not going to do the entire class, but I think top 5 is what? Yaoyorozu, Ida, Bakugo, Izuku, and Todoroki?
I believe so, yes.
Something like that. Todoroki might not be 5th. That's the only one I'm not sure about.
Yeah.
But I
think the big shocker was Mineta getting in the top 10 somehow.
Yeah. Ugh.
And also Bakugo somehow being 3rd.
Bakugo's a fucking nerd. He just hides it.
He's quite intelligent, yeah.
So, which is a good segue. So, Izuku and Bakugo have to face off against All Might. Their weakness is that they have to work together.
Pretty much.
Spoiler warning, Bakugo doesn't do this at first.
Yeah.
It's only when he's been beaten from pillar to post and dragged away by Izuku that he suddenly goes, fine, we'll work together, I guess. I don't want to lose. Even then, he's like, I'd rather lose than work with Deku. It's only when Izuku punches him. It's like, this isn't you, you fucking idiot.
What happened to Mr. Win at all costs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And eventually, they do manage to... there's no real strategy to it. They have a strategy, it doesn't work, and eventually it's just, Bakugo showing some persistence, and then basically they just wear All Might down to the point where he can't follow them when they escape.
Yeah. I mean, they All Might bodies them at first, and it takes a while for them to not get bodied.
I mean, even, they get bodied the entire fight. It is just that they, their little hits they were managing to land do wear him down in the end.
Yep.
To the point where, when Izuku lands that final right hand and, drags Bakugo away, All Might can't follow.
Mm-hmm.
But, fucking All Might chucks Izuku into a bus.
Yep.
All Might makes Bakugo a crater. But yeah, they all pass, and so they all get to, well, most of them pass, but even the ones who fail get to go on the summer camp, or the training camp, over the summer break. So they decide, mostly as a class, Todoroki's not there because he's going to see his mother in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a development that happened, which is quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
Again, only because his boyfriend helped him out. But most of the rest I don't think Bakugo is there either, but that's because he's an antisocial dick.
Correct.
Everyone else, I think, does go to the mall to get supplies for the trip. There, unfortunately,
Izuku has a chance encounter with someone who is
Izuku is
not
villain
nice.
catnip, so comes across Shigaraki, who is having a crisis of confidence, basically. Not enough that, Izuku could talk him onto the good side, but enough that he's wandering around wondering what the point of everything is. He's a whiny teenager, is Shigaraki. Izuku, in, trying to make sure that nobody gets hurt, manages to reaffirm Shigaraki's confidence, ideals, whatever you want to call them. And he, jets away. At the training camp, they begin to train their quirks, along with 1B and guest teachers, the Wild Wild Pussycats. One of whom is a trans man.
Yeah, I do love that detail.
Yeah.
Of a tiger being a trans man.
It's, it's a very very cool thing to have in a big shonen manga like this.
I think the only other major shonen manga to have significant supporting trans characters is One Piece.
Mm-hmm. One Piece can get away with it because it's fucking One Piece.
Yes.
But
yeah, the Wild Wild Pussycats are fun characters.
They are. They are cat-themed rescue heroes, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But they have a series of quirks that are, helpful to not just watching over 40 superpowered teenagers, but helping them train as well. Also at this forested property is Koda, a small child with a big old lot of trauma to work through.
Mm-hmm.
He punches Izuku in the dick. It's very funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
It's. I'm sorry. It's funny.
No, you don't need to be sorry. You're correct.
The other very funny note shot in Shonen is in Haikyuu, but that's a different series. But midway through the training camp, they decide to do a test of courage, where one class tries to scare the other. Unfortunately, the remedial students who didn't pass the exam are dragged away by Aizawa and Vlad King, leaving just the Pussycats to watch over the class. Which is, of course, when the League of Villains Vanguard squad decides to attack.
Yep.
In the League of Villains Vanguard squad is Darby, a fire user, Toga, a shape-shifting yandere, or a person-shifting yandere.
Her power is actually not revealed until Act 2, I believe. All we know is that she sucks blood at this point.
Well, if you're watching this, whatever. It's been long enough. It's not that big of a spoiler.
True.
So Toga, Twice, who We hadn't figured out his power yet, have we?
Twice, I don't believe his power is explicit at this point. No,
Who's power?
Twice's.
twice.
I think you could figure it out based on context clues, but I won't say it. Mr. Compress, who can turn people into small marbles, or turn things into small
And
marbles.
also, yeah.
Mustard, who can emit a poisonous gas. Moonteeth, who is a psycho with basically teeth blades. Moonfish.
Yeah, he can make he can make his teeth longer and turn it into like blades and
Turn
stuff.
it into blades. Yeah, he's a psycho.
Yeah.
And Muscular, who can basically get really fucking strong.
Yeah.
Who is also a psycho. Mm-hmm. Oh, and Big Sis Magna, who has the
magnetism as
magnetism
selective
powers
as a quirk.
With her giant fucking magnet that she carries around. Also a trans character, we should point out.
Yep.
Again, quite cool. And Spinner, who's a lizard with a big sword.
I love how being a lizard is Spinner's quirk.
Yep. It's a lizard mutation.
Yeah, there's a lot of those quirks that are just mutants that just mutate people. Like, Sue's just like a frog girl. Really.
Yeah.
Does whatever a frog girl can.
Yeah.
So they attack. Darby sets the forest on fire. Mustard sends his gas throughout the forest. Magna and Spinner attack the main grouping and take on Tiger and Ragdoll, I believe.
Yep.
Who are the other two? The other two are the ones... I know there's Pixie Bob. Who's the last one? I can't remember the name of the last one.
I don't remember.
That's the one that I can't remember off the top of my head.
Mandalay.
No, it wasn't Ragdoll. It was Mandalay with Tiger.
There's Mandalay, Pixie Bob, Ragdoll, and Tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pixie Bob is the Terrakinetic one, and Mandalay is the telepath.
So Ragdoll is the one that's in the forest. Pixie Bob is the one who gets knocked out early on by Magna.
Yep.
And Mandalay and Tiger take on Spinner and Magna. Unfortunately, they realize that Kota is out and about in the forest. So Izuku goes after him. And finds him with Muscular, who, by a horrible, horrible coincidence, is the villain that killed Kota's parents.
Yep.
A little bit of detail there.
The also other issue is that Muscular is, like, really fucking strong.
Yeah, he is probably the strongest pure strength quirk in the series.
But Izuku, goes fucking plus ultra and beats his shit.
Yep.
Breaking his arms to do it, to be fair.
Yeah.
So Izuku and Kota head back. Unfortunately, the gas is still around. It's caused several students to become unconscious. Also, Izuku found out from Muscular that the League of Villains wanted Bakugo, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because of what happened at the sports festival.
So Izuku dropped Kota off with Aizawa, who had just beaten a Darby clone. And then headed back into the forest to try and find Bakugo and protect him. Bakugo, meanwhile, with Todoroki, were trying and failing to fight Moonfish. Because it turns out 2 kids with fire related quirks not good in a forest. Not good in a forest.
Yeah, obviously.
In terms of other pairings, Sue and Uraraka were waylaid by Toga, and unfortunately, Shoji was dealing with a wild Dark Shadow in Tokiyami. Izuku and Shoji managed to lure the Dark Shadow Tokiyami over to crush Moonfish and then get, brought back to normal by Bakugo and Todoroki. On their way back, Compress marbleizes Bakugo and Tokiyami. They hunt after him, but unfortunately Bakugo is still taken, and people are badly injured. It's not a good time. Also, whatchamacallit, who was it who got taken? It was Ragdoll who got taken.
Yes, she got taken.
Mm-hmm.
As it turns out, her quirk is very useful.
Yeah, it's very useful for it's just very useful in general. I think it could it's basically like you could just basically
it's a search.
Allows her to observe and monitor up to 100 people at a time, including their location and weak points.
That's a very useful quirk.
That's incredibly useful. That's incredibly useful.
Yeah,
like,
and
logistically speaking, it's incredibly helpful to have.
And it's a bad thing to be taken when, All for One is out there. We haven't actually explained what All for One is. All for One is the actual leader of the League of Villains, and his quirk is that he can take and give quirks.
Yep. He is literally a quirk thief.
Yeah. And he is All Might's arch nemesis. He is One for All's arch nemesis. Because One for All was only created because All for One gave his brother a power stockpiling quirk without knowing that the brother he thought was quirkless actually had a quirk that allowed him to pass his quirk on. Useless unless you mix it with a power stockpiling quirk.
Sure.
Yep.
And so, over the course of generations, One for All grows more and more powerful, and then you get All Might, who's able to just take on All for One.
All Might is wielder number 8. Izuku is wielder number 9.
Wielder number 9. Yep.
But yes, Bakugo and Ragdoll get taken, so plans are made to get them back. Because luckily, obviously, the police have been investigating the League of Villains, so they know one of the hideouts. Also, luckily, is that Yayorozu, because there was also a Nomu out in the forest causing chaos, because of course there was.
Yeah.
Yayorozu managed to plant a tracker on one of them, which went to a different location. So they were planning to assault both locations. Unfortunately, sort of unfortunately, the kiddies got wind of Yayorozu's tracker, and some of them decided to follow it themselves. Izuku, Kirishima, Todoroki, Yayorozu, and Ida went with them to chaperone.
Yep.
Now that did create a hilarious image when they decided they needed disguises.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And also a wonderful line in the dub of when they, oh, we need to be hidden. We're too obvious as UA students. Izuku crosses his arms and goes, stealth mode, because he's a fucking nerd, and I love him.
Oh, what a wonderful dork.
But they track down where Yayorozu's tracker went. At the other location, Bakugo is held prisoner by the League of Villains members that we know, and they are trying to convince him to become a villain, which doesn't work because Bakugo, for all his faults, is a hero.
He wants to be the greatest hero, and jackass though he may be, he admires All Might above all else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the assault starts. All Might is at the bar where Bakugo is. No, Endeavor is there as well, isn't he? It's Best Genius running the show at the warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately for Best Genius and all the heroes there, including the 5 kiddies, that's where All for One is. And while All for One may be recovering from getting his face smashed in by All Might 8 years ago, he's still fucking strong.
Yep.
That is a scene that, again, the voice acting and the soundtrack make that scene chilling in the anime.
Mm-hmm. All for One's entrance is just absolutely glorious on entrance.
All for One's theme is like fucking so good. It's so good.
It really is.
All for One then uses one of his stolen quirks to transport all of the villains and Bakugo to his location.
All for One would like to know your location.
All Might follows and they start fighting, but Bakugo isn't still in trouble because, the rest of the League of Villains are there. And while, was it only Kurogiri who was knocked out, or was there anyone else?
I don't remember.
Had Darby been knocked out or not?
I don't recall.
Either way, Kurogiri was knocked out, and he's obviously there. He's got the quirk Warp Gate, and he's their ride, basically.
Yeah.
But Bakugo is limiting All Might's ability to fight, so the kiddies get their heads together and what is it? Todoroki creates an ice ramp. Kirishima uses hardening smash through a wall, and then they use Ida's jets.
They use Ida and Izuku to launch
themselves into the air, where Bakugo launches himself into the air and takes Kirishima's hands because they're boyfriends.
Yes. I do find it funny that they realize it's not Bakugo's childhood friend and rival, and it's not Ida, his technical superior in the class, who would be effective as someone for him to grab a hold of. It was Kirishima.
Yeah. Of all people, it's Kirishima.
It has to be. She was basically the only one Bakugo got along with at that point.
Yeah.
He's not the only one that that Bakugo respects, because Bakugo does also respect Uraraka at this point, but he's one of the few in the class.
Yep. And again, he is the only one who he seems to actually outright get along with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the kiddies escape. All Might fights All for One and eventually defeats him. All for One is arrested. All Might, however, has finally burned through his reserves.
He burns the last of
One
his
for
powers.
All. Yeah, because he's been losing that. He was losing that power anyway because of the injury that All for One gave him all those years ago. But he started losing it at an even bigger rate when he gave the quirk to Izuku, and he uses the last of it to beat All for One.
Yep.
And that is basically where Act 1 ends, is with All Might retiring, saying "You're next," which people in universe take in various ways, but Izuku knows is meant for him.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's where we are.
Yeah, basically the one pillar that's been holding up Hero Society just falls.
And you know what pillar replaces it? Endeavor.
Who finally gets what he wanted, and not in the way that he wanted it to happen.
I mean, it's about
It's about a tragedy Endeavor story, to be honest.
I'd call it, divine justice.
It's very ironic for sure.
Yeah. So yeah. That's basically where Act 1 ends. I mean, again, it's... As I said, Izuku versus Muscular is my all-time favorite fight in MHA. Because
I mean, All Might versus All for One is a very good fight as well.
I know, but I never I like All Might, but he's never been one of my favorite characters. And so, the fight was cool, but I didn't have that emotional connection the way I did with Muscular, with the Muscular fight. Especially, again, the anime does it justice. And it's especially because obviously he's doing it to save Coda, whose whole deal is that he doesn't like heroes because he thinks that, the hero industry and hero society took his parents away from him. And it's only when Izuku saves him that he finally gets heroes. And again, in the anime, I can't say for the sub, I'm assuming the sub is as well, but in the dub, Coda is voiced by Cassandra Lee Morris, who people will also know as Morgana from Persona 5. And she does such a good fucking job voicing Coda. Because, you get some kid characters in anime, especially dubs, and you're like, this doesn't sound like a kid's voice. This sounds like an adult trying to sound like a kid. It happens. Sometimes that's just the way things fly. Cassandra Lee Morris's Coda voice sounds like an actual kid's, and that makes her dialogue at the end of that fight all the more impactful when Coda tearfully says "my hero" in regards to Izuku.
Yeah, that is one of the more moving moments of the series.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I do really like especially the anime's handling of All for One versus All Might. Just because of how much weight and power is put into the moment leading up to
Yeah, like each
final
punch and like the music and the animation.
United States of Smash is good. United States of Smash is definitely good.
Yeah, it's really good. It was a huge moment when it first came out. It was like a huge anime moment.
Everyone was losing their goddamn minds when it came out in the anime.
Yeah.
For good reason.
For a while, it was actually like the most viewed video on Crunchyroll's official account until like the Boruto fight came out. So that was like a good few years.
Not remotely surprised that that was their most popular upload. It was for
I think it's their second most popular now, or third.
It is third after a Boruto thing and the Jujutsu Kaisen OP.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Deku versus Todoroki is fifth, by the way.
Yeah, like Hiroka was really big. like back then, like when
Yutaka Nakamura went off in that fight.
He really popped off, yeah.
But again, I absolutely adore that fight, Izuku versus Todoroki. And again, I still remember how much it affected me when I first read it.
Actually, speaking of Nakamura, I think that's like the first because that wasn't his first cut. That wasn't the first cut he did in that season. During the obstacle race, there's the scene where Todoroki uses his ice powers, and that was also by him. And I always remember that particular cut being so good. And
that scene
that stood out to me so much. And then I realized, and then I learned who it was and what else he did, and that's why Yutaka Nakamura is so revered throughout the industry.
He really is
probably the most popular animator. Well, one of the most popular animators.
Definitely up there. In terms of just pure animators, for sure.
I'd also like to point out that I do follow Yutaka Nakamura on Twitter, and I'm fairly sure he has liked Totodeku art.
He draws. Yeah, he does a lot of Deku and Todoroki stuff. He also did that jump between Bakugo and Kirishima. And
that one was a bit dumb in the anime.
Yeah.
Because instead of Bakugo blasting straight up, he did it in a diagonal, and it looked weird and dumb.
And it looked like, wait, Bakugo couldn't escape before this? How, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they overdid a little bit on that
But
part.
they overdid that scene.
It looked good though. I mean, that's the thing.
yeah.
People bitch about My Hero's visuals, and admittedly, it is for the later seasons more than it is for these first 3. Or, well, 2.5 that we've covered.
The first few seasons are pretty consistently well animated, especially during the big fights.
Yeah.
I would say season 1. No, I would say season 2 is like where like the animation's like at its best, and then it okay. The thing is, I feel like Hiraka still looks good at points. I mean, barring certain moments in season 4, but we're not there yet. I think Hiraka still looks good overall. It's just that, well, times have changed. Like, Hiraka was probably one of the best looking shows when season 1 and 2, especially 2, came out. But then, like, as we went on, we got like Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen
I think,
and
yeah,
Chainsaw
I
and
think
like
the
standards have
issue.
increased
I
for
think
Shonen exponentially.
Yeah, I think the issue is that when My Hero started, the anime industry was still in very much a state of, big shonen series have to be long runners.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. Hiraka was like the first.
Hiraka was the first big shonen
the first seasonal.
was
Hiraka
seasonal.
wasn't actually like the first like seasonal show from like Shonen Jump. Like you had Haikyuu and Food Wars, but like I feel like it like refined that to a T.
Yeah, but
and got really popular. It was the first really big seasonal show.
When I say big shonen show, I mean, I don't just mean a Shonen Jump property. I mean, Shonen Battle Series, the meat and potatoes of Shonen Jump. Haikyuu is a sports series. Food Wars is Food Wars. They are as popular as they were and probably still are. They are not
they
big
don't
shonen
have the
show
mainstream appeal of like Hirako.
They are still technically a niche within Shonen Jump. My Hero is a big shonen, big shonen battle series, and the fact that it went seasonal was, insane at the time, and therefore, because it went seasonal, it could have a higher quality of animation.
I think part of the reason why like Black Clover had like really bad reputation at Jump is because it came right after Hiraka and decided to go all like
it decided
like comparison. Part of the reason was because like it's a long runner. The
point is, Hiraka's adaptation came out in 2016. Black Clover's came out in 2017. I was like, oh my god, if Black Clover gets an adaptation the same way that Hero Arca does, because Hero Arca did change the game for shonen adaptations. It didn't. The pacing was good. It was seasonal. It was well animated. Black Clover then fell into the exact same pitholes that every other big Shonen Jump property, did, that people hated. It was, it was continuous. It didn't have great animation. The pacing was poor because they were continuous. The first 6 episodes covered like 3 chapters.
Like Black Clover. I mean, Black Clover does get better, but like
it does. It does absolutely get better. It does absolutely get better, but it was that first arc.
It doesn't help that the worst material is like covered in the first arc, and they stretch that. Even though like a seasonal adaptation that just speeds through that, would have been a lot better. So,
but yes, the point is that Hiraka was relatively unique when it started. As it kept going, as it reached season 3, season 4, we did start to get, we got Demon Slayer, we got Jujutsu Kaisen, we got, other shonen series from Shonen Jump and, related magazines that were seasonal and were as well animated, if not better animated than Hero Arca. And people looked at Hero Arca and was like, people looked at Hero Arca and went, why can't you look like that? Why can't you look like that? Because they have stupid expectations for it.
No, I still think like Hiraka's like a very. It's like my
Hero Arca still looks fun. Hero Arca still looks great.
Yeah, it still does. It just like
it's just
a lot.
It's just not Demon Slayer episode 19 or Jujutsu Kaisen episode 24 levels, which is insane.
Yeah, but those are like standout episodes of animation, even by the standards of the shows.
But the point is, people
Honestly, I'd say
expect that
like
from their shonen
I'd say
adaptations
Hiraka
now.
might have a few episodes on that like level, but like that's for later. But like,
I mean,
cause
some of
like
the
consistently, I feel like consistently, Jujutsu like other shows that came after it look better. You know, like Demon Slayer
Yeah.
looks better. That's part of the reason why. Like I said, I'm part of the reason why I'm anime only because the anime is just it looks great. The anime looks amazing.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I do not, I do not like the people who are like, oh, Hiraka looks like shit now. Yeah, I hate those people.
It's not bad. I mean, they've done. I mean, it's not. That's not to say that like it doesn't have its rough moments or that they haven't made like questionable decisions, but like it's
Oh,
you could do a
yeah.
hell of a lot worse. You could do a hell of a lot worse.
Hiraka has set a pretty high standard,
Yeah.
even
It's
if
just that
other shows have eclipsed it in terms
yeah,
of
no, it's
quality
yeah.
of
Hiraka set like a
animation.
high standard. It's just that like other shows after Hiraka set even higher standards.
Mm.
You know,
Precisely.
and that's not entirely Hiraka's fault.
No, it's
But,
absolutely not Hiraka's fault. There's only so much that Bones can fucking do. But yeah, we've hit the 2 hour mark. Is there anything we want to quickly discuss before we end?
No, I can't think of anything else.
no, nothing either. Nothing here either.
Oh, I do have something. The OP for the first half of season 3, the backlash it got was dumb. It's a good OP. I like it.
Oh yeah, the one
No,
by
no,
Odd
it's
Future,
one of the
right?
better OP. No, it was still really popular for an OP.
Uh,
I don't
yeah,
think it
Odd
got.
Future by Uberworld, I believe.
Odd Future, yeah, that was the one.
Yeah, Odd Future.
Because it wasn't some typical fucking J-Rock song. Does not say J-Rock songs are bad, but Odd Future is a good song.
Yeah.
And the
Like
visuals
I
on
don't know
that
if it's
OP
my
are great.
favorite, but it's up there.
The point is, My Hero has become a victim of its own success to an extent, and therefore
They
has a
are
lot
really
of critics.
suffering from success, huh?
Has a lot of critics. Not to mention, again, we'll get into this when we talk about Act 2. But, people really, after All Might versus One for All, really expected things to remain at that level of intensity. And obviously, Hiroaki couldn't do that.
It's very rare for an anime to be able to sustain that indefinitely.
I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen is facing the exact same issue. Like it reached a big climactic arc, and now it's having to basically not necessarily start over, but start building back up again, and people are upset about that. It's like that's storytelling, my dude.
That's an issue a lot of long-running series have.
Mm.
I mean, that's an issue with the MCU, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Like, they had Infinity War and Endgame as huge things, and then almost everything after that, except for the third Spider-Man movie, has been, like, people taking issue with, oh, this isn't, like, the awesome high-stakes shit that we had in Endgame. And it's like, bruh, you don't get Endgame without 20 movies of build-up beforehand.
Exactly, yeah.
Calm yourselves.
But yeah, I think we have basically come to an end here. My Hero Academia, as much as I can gripe about some aspects, it's still my favorite anime / manga series. It's still at number 1 for me. And yes, part of that is fan fiction helping out, but part of it is I just, I like a lot of these characters. I absolutely adore Izuku as a protagonist. There's a reason why he's on my picture with Nagisa.
Mm-hmm.
Jack, I'm somewhat assuming that you feel the same way considering your picture. even if it is a
I
character
really
that we.
like I really like Hiraka. It's
Yeah.
not my all-time favorite. It's down several spots, but it has some really endearing characters and
Mm.
some pretty great moments of storytelling.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this good boy, who I take my profile picture from, does not appear until
Act 2.
the second act of the story.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I'm actually wearing a shirt with him on it. So.
It's really hard to go wrong with him.
Mm-hmm. I've got power
Yeah.
along one arm.
Yeah. What about you, Koni? Any last thoughts? Koni? Oh, he's glitching.
Well, I
But
think.
yeah, not much else to say
Yeah.
on this front.
Other than that, if you're
I
anime
was
only
going
and.
to say,
Oh, go ahead, Connie.
sorry, I was going to say that this was a part of Hiraka that like I really enjoyed. I had
Hmm.
like fond memories of this part. Like this was like pretty sure at one point it was like my favorite show.
Hmm.
I just really enjoyed like the characters and my artwork and like the animation.
Hmm.
It was just really fun. Don't really have much more to say about that.
I mean, the last thing I'm going to say is that anime onlys who are about to, start season 6, strap the fuck in.
Oh
Season
yeah,
6 is going to be a fucking
season 6
ride.
is fun. Season 6 is fun. It's very fun.
For better or for worse, strap in. But that is to
A
be
lot of crazy
saved.
shit.
That is to be saved for another discussion. So thank you everybody for watching.
Maybe we could have Act 2 once season 6 ends. That'd be fun.
Possibly. We'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Yeah. All right.
So in terms of future stuff, tomorrow we will be playing, or we should be playing D&D. We should hopefully be getting to the Centralis Underground then. Tuesday, Persona 4 Golden, entering the Hall of Forest. Thursday, Ace Attorney might just be.
Koni, please me having background noise. Thank you.
Thursday might just be our final Ace Attorney stream.
Maybe. We'll see if we can finish the case in that on Thursday or not.
We'll see if I've actually managed to figure out anything by then either, as well. I'm not promising anything. And next Saturday will be our Summer 2022 anime wrap-up and awards stream.
It's going to be a long one. Strap in.
Going to be a long one, but it's going to be fun. They always are.
Yeah.
And then the week after, you will hear us talk about My Hero again, because the week after, on the 15th of October, we'll be doing our fall 2022 premiere stream.
That's going to be fun.
Yep. But that is, as I said, everything for today. So once again, thank you everybody for watching. Please do give us a follow here on Twitch and on Twitter at storytime_net. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow for more D&D. Good night.
Later.